concept called geofencing, if people are not familiar with it, but it means that they can just think of it as an invisible fence around you or somebody at a certain distance beyond which you cannot go, right? And so your face and digital ID is going to be used for controlling your access by implementing a geofence, depending again on your, your currency, your digital currency, right? So where you can fly in the world, that can be limited. How far you can drive, that can be limited. How far you can walk, and this is related to your 15-minute cities or 20-minute neighborhoods. They can implement this, and they don't need guards. They don't need prison guards at the outskirts to stop you. They have the LED lights and the LED weapons. They have the microwave weapons, as well as they have the digital currency can be shut off, right? So you move 15 minutes out, your currency won't work. You can't buy anything. So you are not going to be motivated to leave.
And they call them districts, Aman, in Sydney, here where they're testing it. They're actually calling them districts.
Yeah, I read about that not too long ago. In San Francisco, they've had districts for a very, very long time. But I don't know at what point they're going to start implementing it over in California, but they will.
Oh,
I think the agendas are going full speed ahead in Australia more than any other country.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah. And you can also be geofenced in the metaverse, so to speak, right? So who you can communicate with, who you can text, who you can email, what you can read, what music you can listen to, when you can listen to. So they can control everything through this digital ID and your face in front of a camera.
Well, a recent example of that is that in China, where they're facing, the most draconian, most brutal treatment by their government at the moment with this crazy zero COVID farce that's being used against the people. One particular user was talking about the fact that they were disagreeing with the government, and they banned her WeChat, which is a function that's used for many different things, an app that's used for many functions in society in China. And the next thing was posting onto the WeChat platform, please forgive me, I'll never do anything bad against the government again. You know, this pathetic, please let me back into society. This is what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's not even the government, right? It's the private corporations that have these fake governments in place in all the countries.
Yep. Definitely. I want to ask you something. You mentioned forcing people into the metaverse. I've spoken about this quite a bit, and people think, no, they won't succeed with that. Hang on a second. We're talking about people that are so miserable, they can't even eat what they want. They can't go past their district. They can't do anything, essentially. They're going to spend their time in this virtual reality, and they've been conditioned to do that through the lockdowns. How many people don't even want to go back to work in the office? They'd rather work from home. It's human behavior has been changed in this time. So people will go to the metaverse.
They will, and not only will they will be, some will go voluntarily.
Yes.
And then what they're going to do is, like, let's say you wanted to buy, like today, there are apps where you can buy groceries on your app, right? Instacart, for instance, is very popular in American cities. So today it's on your phone. You can't go to a website and order on Instacart. You have to use an app on your iPad or your phone. Tomorrow, they will move into a virtual reality headset, and then they'll phase out the app from your phone. Now you can only order food through your VR headset.
Yeah.
And that is how people are going to be sucked in, right? A lot of the entertainment will be moved out of web pages, and it'll be moved onto VR headsets. And they're going to subsidize AR and VR headsets or extended reality, XR, your MR, mixed reality. You pick your favorite letter in front of the R. But this is how they're going to do it, either by deleting apps, and convenience will be shifted to all these headsets, and people are going to keep getting sucked in, and it'll happen every year or two, more and more.
The problem is that a lot of... Sorry, go on.
No, like for instance, ordering a cab now in San Francisco, if you go, it's very hard to just hail down a cab. It's either Uber or Lyft, or even the yellow taxis now are on an app. So you can't physically, so that means you always have to have an app on your phone to hail a cab.
Yes.
And then tomorrow they won't take your credit card with a US dollar or an Australian dollar. It'll be a digital currency. So they'll just keep, very cunningly keep moving people into this new system.
It doesn't matter. I will make the point. I watched a video recently on YouTube, and it was a gentleman talking about how great VR is and how we're all going to be going into the metaverse. And so many people are of the opinion that no, they won't succeed with this. Meta stocks are down, so on and so forth. This video had 1 million views, Aman. 1 million views on one video talking about how great VR headsets and the metaverse is. And there would be so many others. What I'm trying to say is that's 1 million people that spent their time. And not all of them were like me watching it to scrutinize, I can guarantee you. Right. They spent their time watching this rather than informing themselves about what's really going on in the world. And that's the biggest problem that we have. It's the masses not realizing where we're heading.
That's right. But one can only realize it if you kind of take the time to, unlearn what's been dumped into your head through mainstream media.
Yes.
And if you cannot make that jump, you're not going to understand what's going on.
I agree. And it's scary for some. I understand it's scary to unplug from the matrix. Right. But we have to keep educating people, because right. Not only their future, but our future depends on them waking up. Please do go on.
Yeah. And ignoring reality is not a good strategy for survival. I mean, that's really my take.